All right, guys, let's divide decimals. So how to divide? I like to use DMSB, and I like to remember it as Does Mom Sell Burgers? Now, that has to do with math because the DMSB really means divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. Those are all the steps that we're going to be using today for division. So let's talk about 6 and 34/100ths divided by 2. The first number goes in our little division house. That's called the dividend. The dividend goes in, dividend, in, dividend, in. So let's put it in the house. And that just means that the other number, which is called the divisor, goes outside of the house. So let's always ask ourselves a question. Does the divisor have a decimal? So that's this number. Does the divisor have a decimal? And the answer is no. So we're actually good to go. We don't have to do anything special if our answer is no. So the first step that we're going to do now that we're all ready to divide is to bring the decimal straight up on top of the division house. Then we also want to make our DMSB chart to keep our work organized. Finally, we're going to divide each digit. I like to block those two numbers so that I can focus on what I'm working on. So how many times does 2 go into 6? 3 times. So that's our division. We're going to give that a check. Now we're going to move on to multiplication. We are going to multiply 2 times 3, which is 6. That's our multiplication, so give that a check. Next, we're going to subtract. We're subtracting 6 minus 6, which is 0. Give that a check. And now we're going to move our little paper over, or our finger, whatever we're using, and bring down the next digit, which is 3. So we're going to bring that down right next to the other number. And we're going to give that a check. And we're actually going to start that whole thing over. So we're going to see how many times 2 can go into 3, which is 1 time. Check for division. Now we're going to multiply 1 times 2, which is 2. Check for multiplication. Now we're going to subtract 3 minus 2, which is 1. Check for subtraction. And finally, I'm going to remove that paper because I'm going to bring down the next number, which is 4. So I'm going to bring that right down next to the 1 and check for bring down. And again, I'm going to start all over again. So now we're going to divide. How many times does 2 go into 14? And that would be 7, so check for division. Next, I'm going to multiply. So 7 times 2 is 14. Check for multiplication. Now I'm going to subtract. 14 minus 14 is 0. Check for subtraction. Now, I don't have a check for bring down. Let's talk about that for a minute. Do I have a remainder? No. That usually means I'm done. I also want to make sure that I used every digit, which I did. So I actually do not have to bring anything down, and I'm done with this problem. Another way that I know that I'm done is that each digit in my dividend has a number above it. So my work is nice and neat, and each number has a number right above it. So I'm actually done. My answer is 3 17/100ths. All right, our next example. Oh no, this is something illegal. This little decimal is just like my little baby, and I can't have a little baby outside the house. I can have a baby inside the house, but I can't have a baby outside. they're going to come after me. All right, what am I going to do? I'm going to move this over. I'm going to move it over one time so it's invisible at the end. Now, whatever I do to the outside, I have to do to the inside. Oh my goodness. I don't see a decimal. We can remember though, it's invisible. It goes right here. And I still have to move it. I have to move it one time. So let's go ahead and move it one time. And there's a 0 here now. And we're going to rewrite our problem so that it's nice and neat. There we go. It's rewritten. And I'm also going to remember to write, does mom sell burgers? Okay, let's start off with one number. So does 5 go into 5? Yeah, it goes in one time. So I put a 1 right here. I can put a little baby x for my multiplication. So that's my division. Now I'm going to multiply. So 1 times 5 is 5. Now I'm going to subtract. So minus, so that's a 0. Then I'm going to remember to bring down my next digit. So I have 6. So does 5 go into 6? Yes, it does. It goes in one time. So that's our division. Now I'm going to multiply just one digit at a time. So 1 times 5 is 5. Then I'm going to subtract. So 6 minus 5 is 1. Then I'm going to bring down this 0. We're going to start all over again. So we're going to start with D for divide. So 5 and 10. So how many times does 5 go into 10? 5, 10. Oh, 2 times. All right. So 2. And now I'm going to multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. And then I'm going to subtract. And as long as I have no remainder and no other digits, so I'm done with all my digits, I am actually done. I don't have anything else to bring down. And I can bring up my decimal to the end because that's where it goes. But this is still a whole number. 112 is my answer. All right, let's do our next example. 102 thousandths divided by 5 tenths. So again, the first number goes in the division house, dividend in. So let's go ahead and put it in the division house. And our other number is called our divisor, and that's going to go outside of the house. Now we're going to ask ourselves the same question. Does the divisor have a decimal? So this is our divisor. Does it have a decimal? Yes, it does. So that means that this problem is going to have a little bit of extra steps in it because this answer is a yes. So one of the extra steps is we have to do a little decimal jump on the outside because we're not allowed to have that decimal out there. That's illegal. We're not allowed to have it in there. They're going to come get you. So get rid of it. So we're going to scoot it on over until it's all the way to the right. That was only one jump. Not too bad. Now we're going to do the same thing on the inside. So if we did one jump on the outside, we are also going to do only one jump on the inside, which would be right here. So that's one jump. And our decimal is where it is supposed to be. Now let's talk about those random zeros. Those are called leading zeros. I don't need them. I don't need that 0, and I don't need that 0. Get rid of it. It's too many things on your paper. Let's rewrite it. And that is what it should look like. So go ahead and write that down because that's what we're going to do. And make sure you have your DMSB chart right next to your problem. So now that we're all ready to go and there's no decimal in the divisor, we're going to go ahead and bring our decimal straight up. And that's our new decimal in our new location. Now we can start our DMSB, which starts off with division. Does 5 go into 1? No, it does not. Does 5 go into 10? Yes, it does. It goes in 2 times. That starts off our division. So give that a check. Next, we're going to multiply. 2 times 5 is 10. Check off multiplication. Now we're going to subtract. 10 minus 10 is 0. Check off subtraction. Next, we're going to bring down. So go ahead and bring that 2 down. Does 5 go into 2? No. That no is another 0. So we're going to bring that 0 up because it is a no. We're still going to say that that's our division, and we're going to multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. Check off multiplication, and we're going to subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. Check off subtraction. Now, I might think I'm done because I used every digit. However, I have to realize that I have a remainder, and that's a big no-no. There are no remainders. It's fine that I used every digit, but that's not good enough. So I'm going to bring down another number. There's no number there. So let's look at step 5. It says to add zeros as needed until there is no remainder or the number repeats. So we're going to go ahead and add a 0 there and bring that down. How many times does 5 go into 20? It goes in 4 times. So now we're going to multiply. 4 times 5 is 20. And we're going to go ahead and subtract. And now we have no remainder. So let's check to make sure that we're really done. Does every digit have another digit right on top of it? Yes, it does. That's one of the hints that lets me know that I'm done. Do I have a remainder? No, I don't. Now I really know I'm done because I have no remainder. So I can put an X on that bring down box because I do not have to bring anything down. So my answer is 204 thousandths.